Welcome everybody to this year's Procurement Skills Award. Before we start, can I just cover the usual housekeeping points, although in the last 5 minutes I think we've probably attended to that. So just if everyone could turn cameras on, if you can, and if you could also mute unless you're speaking, that would be brilliant. For those I've not met already, at least virtually, I'm Phil Beach, and it's my great pleasure as CEO of Energy and Utility Skills to welcome all signatories to the 4th Procurement Skills Accord Awards. As some of the veterans amongst you know, the awards recognise excellence in our collective efforts to drive skills development across the supply chain through procurement. It's the 2nd virtual event in a row, I'm sure you'll know, due to COVID-19 restrictions, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to the next one being face-to-face. Of course, coronavirus has had a real impact more broadly, and I think we should all recognise the effort that's gone into the Procurement Skills Award from all of the signatories in a particularly challenging 12 months. So thank you for all you've done and continue to do in support of this initiative. Before we start, it's maybe worth reflecting on the journey that's brought us here. Back in 2015, the contractor community asked whether procurement could be used as a vehicle to enhance skills development in the supply chain. And in particular, there was a real interest in whether suppliers could get recognised for the investment they make in sustainable skills. And as a result of this request, the Energy and Utility Skills Partnership developed the Procurement Skills Accord with a vision to drive a change in procurement processes focused on recognising investment in skills development. After an initial pilot in 2016, the EUSP launched the Procurement Skills Accord in 2017. And I think it would be true to say we've covered a lot of ground since then. And it's particularly heartening to see skills increasingly becoming a key consideration within procurement, and skills embedded in the procurement processes providing real support to supply chain organisations. We've now got skills development and workforce resilience included within the sector procurement database, and can see it's actually being used widely. Some of the data and statistics for you. Technical training activity has increased significantly, with a 3-year average of over 12.5% of the eligible workforce on technical training. And I think that's really encouraging. And I think increasingly we're seeing organisations building in processes to build a skilled and sustainable workforce. And a particular area of close interest to me is that of those on technical training programmes, over 4% of the workforce are now on apprenticeships, which is a really encouraging number. We're also seeing increasing numbers of organisations meeting the criteria of the Accord successfully, with nearly 80% of signatories achieving the award this year, which, given all that everyone's been through, I think is an outstanding achievement. So the PSA has seen some notable achievements, and we're starting to see real changes being made in organisations and procurement to support a sustainable, skilled workforce. Kevin Foley, the Commercial Engineering Capital Delivery Director at United Utilities and Chair of the EUSP Delivery Board, we'll next take a look back on, I think, what we'd all agree is an eventful 12 months and maybe touch a little bit on what the future looks like for the Procurement Skills Accord. And I'm also delighted that we're joined by Peter Bingham, the Chief Engineer at Ofgem, to give a regulator's perspective on the topic. So without further ado, again, thanking you and welcoming you to this 4th PSA Awards. It's my great pleasure to hand over now to Kevin.
That's great, thank you, Phil. Good afternoon, everybody. So as Phil introduced me, my name's Kevin Fowley. I'm the Commercial Engineering and Capital Delivery Director at United Utilities, and I also chair the Energy and Utility Skills Partnership Delivery Board. I've personally been involved now with EU Skills for a number of years, so both chair of Delivery Board more recently and then member organisation previously, both at United Utilities and prior to that at Amy. And I think one of the reasons I sort of took up the challenge of chairing the delivery board was the ability to get involved and influence and drive some of the activity that we're facing across sector. So when we think around some of our challenges, such as future skills in this instance, or diversity and inclusion and carbon net zero, I think these are challenges that aren't just one organisation's particular challenges. They're something that we all have in common and that we all face, regardless of whether we're in the energy or the utility sector. So I think the combined power of all the organisations coming together, working collaboratively, has to provide us with the best opportunity possible to face into these challenges. And on a personal level, it's great having everybody's involvement. It's great working with the companies involved in this instance with the PSA. But I think, collectively we can really make a difference. And, we've seen, some really good progress over the last 12 months in particular, which I'll come on to. I think when we focus in on the Procurement Skills Accord itself, I think it was developed to deliver a step change in procurement practices, as Phil alluded to. And this was to focus on skills development and to ensure that we have a skilled and sustainable workforce for the future. Many of you will know, many of you will be client asset organisations, many of you are contracting organisations, and we're all there to deliver a similar aim, but sometimes our objectives are slightly different in achieving that goal. But I think what this does is really brings together that need to future-proof the sector and make sure we're investing in those future skills for generations to come. The Accord itself is a set of 5 challenging commitments which requires companies to enhance their own workforce resilience and embed skills into procurement processes. And this really provides support into wider supply chains. I think if we look back on last year, I think it's fair to say it's been challenging on many fronts. But I think despite the challenges of COVID and what that's brought to the sector and what that's meant in terms of remote working, we've still seen 56 companies participate in the Accord last year. To put that into context, that's nearly a third of the UK's energy and utilities regulated asset owners now being part of the Accord. And that's really important. Why is it important? Well, the more we can get through the Accord, the more consistent our approach can be and the greater power that we can achieve between us all. So I think from that perspective, it's really important. Consistency is really important, and that attraction to the sector and being able to lobby some of our key stakeholders is easier when we've got more people sort of fighting our corner, as it were. I think in terms of skills and workforce resilience, that is increasingly being embedded into processes and procurement processes. So we know that 78% of our signatories now embed skills within their own procurement processes. And we are slowly seeing a steady growth in organisations, including skills development issues within the pre-qualification and tender evaluation processes. So that's encouraging because it's not just people talking about it, we're actually seeing real action. We're putting real sort of value against it, and actually we're making it more important to people. And by having it in tender evaluation processes, it clearly shows that intent, and it's certainly being responded to within the supply chain, which is great. I think what we're also seeing though is open discussions being held between clients and suppliers on common things like skills development, for example. And not only that, it's being backed up by tangible evidence, which is really important. So, for example, we're seeing examples where supply chain are maximising use of clients' training facilities, so clients opening up access to their facilities for suppliers to use, which is obviously a better use of investment and synergy there. We're seeing organisations working together to promote skills initiatives such as apprenticeships. And we're also seeing a wider use of supplier code of conduct. So they're setting out expectations around workforce development and within the supply chain. And again, that just provides a framework, and again, a consistent framework in which we can all work to in terms of developing and investing in those skills for the future. In total, we've had 43 companies this year have achieved the award, which is a fantastic achievement. I think I think sometimes I wake up and think, we're very lucky to work in the sectors that we are when you see what's going on around the world and the impact that COVID's had. But notwithstanding that, the workload doesn't get any less, and we know everybody's been busy. It's been new ways of working, people have been working remotely, etc. So for people to still contribute and participate in the Accord has been really testament to everybody's hard work. And I think the team assessing those have commented on how strong all of the annual review submissions have been this year. And I think all I can do is just thank all signatories for their continued support and the efforts made to date. It really is appreciated, and it really does make a difference. I think with all this in mind, we've been looking at how the Accord can continue to deliver, to recognise the hard work and the achievements made to date. How do we build on this? How do we continuously improve? And it's important that we take a step back and recognise that we have made great strides and we are continuously improving, and we need to continue this hard work with your commitment. To do this, the Procurement Skills Accord Steering Group and Energy and Utility Skills Partnership have been conducting a review of the Accord, and the outcome of that has been joint agreement on a new model being developed. So we're now entering a new phase of delivery, and we are implementing a new pricing model along with the introduction of supplier reporting dashboards, and this will provide better reporting measures and help support dialogue between clients and suppliers. So hopefully making everybody's life a little bit easier through the use of MI. We'll also be looking at implementing new elements over a phased period, and that will be directed by the steering group. But our key goal is ensuring that the Accord is delivering against its vision and, more importantly, meeting industry requirements. So thanks for listening to me up until now. I'll pass you over back to Phil.
Thanks, Kevin. Great news to welcome Peter Bingham from Ofgem to talk to us a little about this subject from a regulator's perspective. So without further ado, Peter, welcome, and we're very grateful for you finding the time to come and talk to us today.
Thank you, Phil. So as you say, I'm the Chief Engineer at Ofgem. I've been with Ofgem for about 4 years. Ofgem is the economic regulator for the energy sector in Great Britain, and our primary duties are to protect the interests of consumers of gas and electricity, and as part of that, we're heavily involved in ensuring that energy is decarbonised to meet the sort of 2050 net zero targets. In my role at Ofgem, actually, I've been sort of working with the Energy and Utilities Skills Partnership for most of the time I've been here. Actually, it's something that I had a passion about. I'm an engineer. I worked in the sector, unlike many of my colleagues, and so the whole area of workforce resilience was quite important and relevant to me. So as a regulator, we kind of make sure that companies look after their assets, for example, to ensure that they deliver, high quality, reliable services. But as a regulator, we don't really look at measuring the companies in terms of how they look after the workforce. And therefore, I sort of took on workforce resilience as a sort of topic area for the regulator to explore. And indeed, as part of business plans for the network companies, we've required that those network companies put in place network resilience plans, and we're asking companies to then report on progress against those plans. So it gives an impetus on the companies not only to look after the pounds and the pennies, but also to look after the sustainability of their workforce. Because ultimately, the things that we expect that network companies to deliver for consumers, they can't deliver if they've not got a workforce, if they've not got a supply chain that is sustainable into the long term. And that's why I've kind of taken interest in this area. So in terms of the sort of the net zero challenge, by 2050 we need to sort of decarbonize the energy system, and that is a this is a target set by policymakers, but it is astronomically huge in terms of delivering. We've made massive progress towards decarbonisation, certainly in the power sector, over the last 20 years or so. We need to continue making progress in the power sector, but also tackle heat and transport. There's a humongous challenge over the next sort of 30 years or so, and it's going to require massive investment in infrastructure. Whether that is a quadrupling the offshore wind generation capacity, whether it's building lots of new nuclear power stations, it's reinforcing our electricity networks so that we can electrify heat and transport. It is investing in carbon capture and storage facilities. It's converting, potentially all our gas networks to convey hydrogen. It's creating the infrastructure to generate hydrogen. Indeed, that is the right decarbonisation pathway to take. Lots and lots of investment is going to be needed, and indeed in terms of our price controls, so we set price controls every 5 years for the monopoly network companies. So we've just done the transmission and gas distribution companies. We've provided £30 million of them from upfront investment for those companies for that 5-year period, 3 billion of which is for green energy projects. Over £500 million in innovation funding for green energy is included in that package, and the price controls that we design are agile, so that we could potentially we see another £10 billion worth of investment in infrastructure that's going to come along over the next 5 years that we need to fund. So that's kind of the money side. There's plenty of capital, there's plenty of cheap capital out there looking for investment in energy, and in particularly green energy projects. But who's going to deliver it? It's not going to be me. It's going to be, I guess, it's going to be the youth of today that are going to be engaged in this industry. I think the industry offers huge potential. Whenever people say to me, I don't know what to do for a job, I say, well, the energy sector is going to be huge over the next 30 years. So for me, it is so important that the companies and their supply chains are recruiting and training this workforce for the future that is going to deliver the infrastructure that we need. And the procurement skills accord, the energy and utility skill partnership, you are all absolutely essential to sort of making this happen and ensuring that we have that high skilled, diverse workforce for the future in order to deliver all this stuff. And I guess the final point I'd like to make on that is that it would be a real shame if we have to import materials, if we have to import equipment, if we have to import labour and skills from abroad. We need to generate this stuff ourselves. That for me is essential, and so the supply chains for all of these grand projects, it needs to be predominantly GB based. I'll stop there. I think I could go on talking about this stuff all day. And Phil, you've done the cardinal sin of talking.
I had to have at least one meeting this week where I can see a chorus of your on mute voices in the distance, but it's reassuring that I've got it out of the way at least for today, hopefully. But Peter, thank you for those really interesting comments, and I think reflecting on the exciting moment we find ourselves in with carbon neutral, net zero, and all of that, and the significant investment in infrastructure and all that goes with that. So I think you're right to reflect on what is exciting times and this sort of the skills that are going to be needed to deliver that and where they might be found. But without further ado, we are now moving on to the awards part of this hour together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these awards presented. I think what we have now is a series of presentations between Kevin and Peter. So back to you, Kevin and Peter, for this awards part of the presentation. I think initially, Kevin, I'm handing over to you for the first announcement.
You are, yes, Phil, thank you. So congratulations for achieving the Procurement Skills Accord Award 2020-2021 to the following companies. So we have Alpha Construction, Andrew Hughes Utility Services, Babcock Networks, Balfour BT, BAM Nuttall, and Casilium. So well done all.
And it's over to me. So congratulations also to Clancy, to E.ON UK, to Kia Utilities, to Lanes Group, Ludden Construction, and Morgan Sindall Energy and Water. Well done, everybody.
And a big congratulations also to MWH Treatment, National Grid, NMCN, so that's North Midland Construction, Northern Gas Networks, Northern Power Grid, and Northumbrian Water.
And congratulations to Omexbom, is that how you pronounce it? Pennon Group, Prismian Cables and Systems, R.J. McLeod, Scottish Power and Scottish Water. Well done, everybody.
Lots of clapping hands on the screen, so lots of celebrations remotely, which is good to see. We continue, so the congratulations continue to Siemens Energy, SSE, Thames Water, UKPN, VGC Group, Volker Infra, and Wood Power Solutions.
And the last group to congratulate is a special congratulations to the following for full marks across all applicable criteria go to Avidity, Balmoral. Sorry,
it was Avidity.
Avidity, okay, thank you. Balmoral Tanks, David Carr Durham Limited, Dunphy Combustion, DW Utility Services, and Had Fab. Well done.
Then finally, again, a special congratulations to achieving all or full marks across all the criteria, which is no mean feat. We've got Installcom, Network Plus, O'Connor Utilities, PN Daily, RBS Scaffolding, and Rockmount Utilities. So again, a big well done, and well done to everybody for achieving what you've done this year. It really is a great achievement all round. Thank you.
Kevin, Peter, thanks ever so much for getting through the list and navigating that so well. Brilliant job, everyone. As we reflected at the start, nearly 80% of signatories are achieving those awards, and some outstanding performances, you know, and putting it in context, all that's happened over the last 12 months to get to that point is a brilliant job. So well done, everyone. And of course, there are those that are working towards the award, and obviously, the more that we see getting that award, the better. So let's break the 80% mark next year. But I think, you know, just a reflection on how far we've travelled, and some great results across the piece there. So brilliant work from everyone. Really well done. And mindful that we have a little bit of time left, I wonder whether any of those that have been named in that list might want to brave the technology. Don't do as I did. Make sure you unmute. Anyone of those award winners want to add any comments on what achieving the award means to them?
I think, Phil, if I might, Phil Hicks, CRI, Northumbrian Motors Head of Procurement and Chair of the PSA Steering Group. And just a comment, really, I think, you know, we had a best practice session earlier today, and just to echo the comments from you guys, really, in terms of the efforts and resilience that's been shown in terms of, despite the fact that we've been in a very difficult period, still doing the right things and prioritising the right things around skills development. And we had some examples earlier of people almost refusing to put it on the too hard to do pile, despite the temptation to do so with COVID and various other supply chain challenges. So I just wanted to add to your comments and congratulations, and say that, you know, we've come through this, and look forward to the next 12 months where I think whatever the new normal is can only be super positive for us. So just wanted to add to that.
Brilliant, thanks for your wise words, and much appreciated. May I hand over next to Colin and then to Fiona?
Yeah, afternoon, thank you. So just I'm the vice chair of the steering group. I'm head of procurement at Balfour BT, and in terms of the last 12 months, it's been a massive challenge for everybody. But I think we've always tried to keep a really strong focus on the fact that the skills development initiative that we're pushing here is not something that gets derailed by any individual sort of either UK-based or global issues, and there's been a few. It's a long-term sustainable aspect that we're looking at for the entire industry. So I mean, just sort of as a personal reflection, I'm extremely pleased that we've kept our eye on the ball, and that so many people have. And again, I'll echo everyone's comments. I want to thank everybody else that's been involved in this. The success rate this year is absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Colin. Brilliant. And Fiona.
Thank you very much, Phil. Just wanted to say thank you very much for the award. I'm calling from BGC Group. It's, you know, just to reiterate what everyone has said, it's a chance for us to showcase all the good practices that we're currently involved with to attract, upskill and retain our staff. And there's obviously some great initiatives that we're already doing. There's a few takeaways that I have as well to bring back to the business. So thank you very much to everyone.
Thanks, Fiona. And I think with that, we're nearing the end. I'm looking to Steve to see if there's anything I've forgotten.
No, that's it, Phil. Great job. Thank you very much. And from my perspective, from a senior leadership team within Energy and Utility Skills, looking onto this project and some of the hard work which has been carried out this year by both members and the team within Energy and Utility Skills, Becky et al. It's been phenomenal. The lockdown has presented its challenges, but really we've all risen to the challenge. So well done, everyone. Looking ahead to this year / next year, as we've been calling it for a long time, we've got a new delivery model. There's lots of activity going on, kicking off with Becky sending out some dates for the next network meetings and best practice meetings as we go through the year. We've got increased media coming up, so making sure we're pushing forward the agenda. So lots really to go at, ending up with the review again next year, but with the dashboards this time, so we really get a good look at how organizations are performing. But look, let's tackle that one when it comes. Just to say thank you again to everyone, and well done for those that have succeeded and for those that are working towards the award. So thank you.
Brilliant, thanks, Steve. So that draws us to a close. What I would say is, obviously, let's celebrate successes, and I think, you know, from what we've heard, real successes despite some really demanding circumstances. So brilliant job, everyone, and looking forward to next year. It just leaves me to say a huge thanks to Kevin and to Peter for guiding us through those awards and for speaking so clearly about the challenges and the opportunities facing the sector. Thank you to Steve and the Energy Utility Skills team for putting all this together, and well done, everyone, for a brilliant year. Good job, everyone.